Hi, I'm Matt Stevens. I'm a tutor on the game development degree at ACM, and today I'm going to be walking you through creating a low poly dragon and texturing it using Atlas textures. So let's get started. So we're going to do this using our cube here, our simple cube. I've just moved up a little bit, and this is going to be our main body, and basically from here I'm going to use this and extrude the faces, move things around to basically create our dragon. So cool, that's our X, so we're going to use that as the front. So all I'm going to do is I'm just holding down Shift with a face selected to extrude out, so we have some form of body. So I'm going to take that down here. So this is going to be the rear end, and that's going to tail off into a tail. So I'm just going to tail that off a couple of times and just resize that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to double click that. So I've double clicked the edge loop and that one as well. So that's going to be our main tail, and we'll come back and adjust that as we go. So face, so I'm going to extrude that out. And what we're going to do is I'm going to take that, I'm going to double click it, so I've got another edge loop here, and just expand that out a little bit. Face there, expand that out. So you can see it's going to be our main body. Let's shrink that a little bit. And what we're going to do, we're going to take this up, and this is going to essentially go into our neck of the dragon, I think. Yeah, something like that. So up there, and resize it. And, you know, you don't have to be too precious about this, because this is, you can move all these faces around and all these lines around. You know, I'm just getting a rough idea for the moment of the general shape, something like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure symmetry is on the right side. Oh, let me do that. There we go. So I've now got symmetry on, so on both sides. So I can take this out, take that down like that. And I can do the same at the back here. Let's make sure we're only selecting that side, because I don't want to expand. I don't want to extrude this bottom face. And something like, looks more like a dinosaur at the moment, but that's fine. We're going to add wings to the back. Cool, so this is our main shape that we're going to use, and what I'm going to do is down this center of the dragon, I'm going to add a edge loop. Let's just make sure that's going all the way around. Cool. And so I'm going to add another one here as well, and basically these allow us to, you know, get a little bit more definition into our dragon. So let's face, I'm going to select this one. Ooh, there we go. Just let's select the top here. And that one. It really just is a case of, you know, moving faces around to get something that we like. Okay, so let's add the wings in. So I'm going to put an edge loop here. I'm going to use that as our basis of the wing. Let's expand that out. that. Maybe one more. That'll do. And I tell you what, I'm going to also add another edge loop. What, around there? Yeah, that's what I want to do. Because then what I'm going to do is take one there, and then we're going to have these as our kind of main spinal joints, and then the bottom part as our kind of wing. There we go. And I can take these back and, you know, adjust these how I like. So obviously I probably don't want that one too high. I'm going to take this back a little bit more as well. Something like that. So let's have a look at the head here. This is a bit of a mess, so this is not what I want. So I'm just going to add a couple of edge loops and start trying to adjust it. Cool, there we go. It's a little bit better. So got a mouth now, and I'm not liking that too much. I'm just going to move that back. So again, a lot of this is really just, you know, you're moving points around to try and get something that you like the look of. Okay, and in Maya, something you can do is, yeah, at the moment some of these edges are kind of smoothed, which you don't necessarily want in low poly. So what I'm going to do is just go. So all I'm doing is I've selected it in object mode. I've held down Shift and right clicked, gone to soften hard edges, and I'm just going to go make all the edges hard. And then what that does is that you know, defines these edges a lot more, which is something that you see a lot in low poly modeling. So yeah. Okay, so you know, that's really simple. Obviously you can go in and further define the shapes. You could you know, obviously go further in with like things like the legs, you know, and start either making them a little bit more rounded, for example. You know, and all I've done there is, you know, added another edge loop and things like that. You know, this is really super basic, but you can have a lot of fun doing low poly stuff. And obviously this is you know, a 5 minute, 8 minute thing that I've just created, but I also wanted to show you atlas textures and using an atlas texture. So I've already prepared an atlas texture and added it to a material, so we can activate that. I'm going to go to UV editing. So an atlas texture, really simple. It's a tiny little image. This is 10 pixels by 10 pixels, and all it has is colors over the different pixels. So and what you can basically do is you can assign different faces to different areas of the image, and that will color that section. Okay, so all I'm going to do here is I've got the object selected, and I'm just going to automatic it for the moment. And to be honest, I think we're just going to cut everything. So basically what I've done is I've made each one of these, so if I'm selecting the UV shell, each one of these is an individual, so on the right hand side here is an individual, you know, face that we could put in any section that we want. So for example, I could now go in and go on that. In fact, let's do this as well, this entire chest area, you know, typical dragon, all the way down to the tail, that all the way down to the tail. Yeah, so I've got all of these, including that. And I'm going to shrink these right down, make them nice and small, and stick them in orange, for example. Yep, and maybe the rest of it. You know, let's move these. I'm just going to move all of these over to here. I'm going to shrink these down, and let's say we put these into just the dark brown for the moment. And you can see we've coloured the chest area here, yeah, but the rest of the dragon is currently brown. So you could go back in, and you could say, right, this wing area, I'm going to go into the UV shell. I'm going to select these wing areas here, yeah, and I can take them and we could make them, let's say, black, for example. Yeah, and now we've coloured those black. Yeah, and so you could do this, you know, with different bits. So for example, let's make these eyes. Let's make these eyes white. So I've now got little eyes there. Yeah, I can go in and do the inside of the mouth. Black. Let's take that, let's put that in red because that might be the tongue, for example. Yeah, so really simple, super simple low poly dragon, you know, quickly textured, quickly mapped, but you can take this and go with it and run for miles with this kind of approach. And this was very simple, super quick, and you can spend much more time on this, you know, taking and making it look sort of nicer, maybe more rounded, you know, adjusting different parts of the dragon or whatever you create. But you can create all sorts in low poly, and low poly is such a fun style as well, and it's so easy to get into and start creating stuff. So have a go.